I got you. This story takes place in 1683 in North Carolina. There were these two towns that lived on opposite sides of the French Broad River. They were constantly going back and forth, like little fights here and there. Like there was a feud between these two towns as they just disagreed fundamentally on almost everything. Both sides were very spiritual, but one side was very much so religious. One side thought that the land, including the river, belonged to them. It was given to them by their Lord, and they thought that they could do whatever they want with the land. The other side believed that the land, including the river, was for everyone. This river was the largest river in the area, which means it gave everyone who lived around it an abundance of food, water, nutrients. They fished in this river. They hunted deer by this river, and so on and so forth. As time went on, the feud between the two towns started to get violent. So finally, the heads of both towns had a meeting, and they both agreed that it would be best if the two towns just separated. But separating now means one side is going to lose out on all the abundance of the river. So for the purposes of this story, I'm going to say there's a religious town and a spiritual town. The leader of the spiritual town suggested that so that no one loses out on the river, they just split the river. The idea was to dam the river and have it split going left, split going right. The leader of the religious town went back to his town and he told the people what was suggested. Immediately, everyone in that town was up in arms because in their mind, their God gave the river and the land to them. Instead of coming back with a counteroffer, the religious town decided it's time to get rid of the spiritual town. So the religious leader went back to the spiritual leader. They had a conversation. At the end of that conversation, it was decided that they both agreed that the river should be split. In believing that they had finally come to a resolution and things would just get a little bit better in the town, there was a celebration. The spiritual town planned a 5-day feast in which they cook everything. It's kind of like a potluck kind of thing, and everyone just, everyone brings something. There's people cooking there. It's music, libations. Anyway, on day one of the celebration, a strange woman walked into the town. She was pale. Let's call her Victoria. Victoria was obviously weak. She could barely stand on her own. She could barely speak. The elder who found her, who helped her up, was trying to give her water, and she was refusing the water. And all he can hear from her was goat. So just trying to help her out as best as he could, he went into the stables and got her goat's milk. She refused the goat's milk, and she crawled over to the goat, and she laid her fangs into that goat. The elder was obviously scared. He was freaking out. At this time, there've only been tales of vampires, and he's now seeing it in the flesh. And luckily for Victoria, this elder was a compassionate and empathetic elder. He skipped the entire first night of the feast, and he stayed in the stables, and they talked all night. Victoria explained her situation. The elder understood, and the next day he brought her into the town. Obviously, people were skeptical at first and kind of kept their distance, but then Victoria started showing how useful she could be. While one fisherman would catch 5 fish a day, she would catch 20. While it would take a few days to find and kill a deer and bring it back to the town, she killed 2 in a day. Victoria kind of explained to them that, she just wants to find a home. She ran away from where she was from, and she likes being there. She wanted to be there. By the end of the feast, the entire town was in love with Victoria the way Victoria was in love with them. Now, the morning after the last feast, this is about 4 o'clock in the morning, the sun hasn't even come up yet. The religious side crossed the river and slaughtered the entire spiritual town. Victoria was out fishing so that the town can eat breakfast. When she got back to the town and realized what happened, Victoria was upset, and she sniffed her way to the religious town. If the scent of their sweat and blood wasn't enough, Victoria got confirmation as to who committed these crimes when they heard the religious side celebrating the same way the spiritual side was celebrating the night before. It took Victoria 20 minutes to destroy the entire town. Some people got away, and that's only because Victoria allowed them to get away. After that, Victoria stayed on the land and made it a sanctuary for other runaways to come, be family, be in community. Victoria was running away from Romania, Transylvania, to be exact. She loved her home. She just couldn't stay there with the type of people that were there. So she renamed the town that she was in now, Transylvania Town, currently known as Transylvania County, North Carolina. Obviously, this is all hypothetical though, right? Oh, the people that Victoria allowed to escape, they made their way to Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts.